And welcome back. It's time once again to take a step back in time, courtesy of John Sellars from the History Museum on the Square.
Here's another Springfield story.
Hello, everyone. I'm John Sellars, Executive Director of the History Museum on the Square. I hope you enjoyed my stories the last few weeks. Today I've got one I think you'll find very, very interesting. It's about a man that I can't say enough about. He's a man who came here to work for the railroad in 1904 as an attorney. And just almost immediately, he became heavily involved in the community, working to get the state school built here, which later became Missouri State University. And within a very short time, the railroad charged him with developing Springfield as a new office area for the Frisco Railroad. So he developed and built a building on the northwest corner of Olive and Jefferson, the Frisco office building, which remains there today. It was a beautiful building, state-of-the-art office with hundreds of employees keeping track of all of the railroad comings and goings through the area. And having that office here developed the ability that they built a new shops here, a new shop that added a huge number of new employees, to the point where the Frisco had over 4,000 employees here. This man decided then that the city needed a new modern hotel. The last hotel of any size here had been built in the 1880s, and they needed a new ultra-modern hotel. So he built one, the Colonial, on the southwest corner of St. Louis and Jefferson. And then he decided that the city needed a new office building, something more modern, something that stood out. So he built one. That was his approach to everything. The man's name, John T. Woodruff. Woodruff put his stamp on the city of Springfield in everything he did over the course of the first half of the 20th century. And with the building of the Woodruff Building, a 10-story structure on the corner of St. Louis and Jefferson, he cemented that image of a forward thinker and visionary, an image that would sit with him for the rest of his career and all the things that he built and touched over that time. The U.S. Court of Appeals went into that 10th floor of the Woodruff Building. Attorneys and others clamored to get space and offices in the building itself, and it was immediately filled up. So 3 buildings on 3 corners, right down Jefferson Street, all built and developed by a man who just came here to be an attorney for the railroad. Not for any business of his own, but just because he felt the city needed them. He would go on to do many more things. We don't have time to talk about him today, but we'll talk about him next week when I tell you the rest of the story of John T. Woodruff and how he's, I believe, the most important builder and developer and just person of tremendous importance to the city of Springfield. See you next week.
And thanks, John. Always like the stories.
Yeah, I know, they're good.
And remember, if you would like to be a part of history, write a letter about what you're doing or how you're feeling during these coronavirus days. Then take a picture of that letter, send it to the History Museum on the Square at info@historymuseumonthesquare.org. Your letter will be put into the archives for future generations to read. Just think about it. Your words and feelings can live forever.
And I think the letter will be cool, but I have a feeling there's going to be an interactive deal in that museum soon enough that all of our grandchildren and great-grandchildren, those people were crazy.
Yeah.
Poor them in their quarantine, you know.